You can see all the red flags, feel all the pain, and yet something deep inside of you still craves the person who hurt you. Your mind says run, but your heart says stay. I can handle it. That's not because you're weak or stupid or naive here. It's because you're caught in something so powerful that it can override logic. A trauma bond. No matter how many times they hurt you, no matter how many promises they break, no matter how many times that you tell yourself that that's it, I'm done, something pulls you back in. A trauma bond isn't just a toxic attachment, it's a survival loop wired into your nervous system. It's formed when intense emotional pain is mixed with emotions of comfort, apology, or affection. And I talk about this one on one of my videos that I did on trauma bonding, where the kidnapper bonds the trauma to the kidnapped by traumatizing them and having them in a cold, dark room with mice, and then coming in every once in a while to do something nice, like maybe sit and talk with them with lights on. They feel safer now. And that's better than being alone and afraid. So they bond. The abuser becomes the savior. Pain, then relief, then pain again. And this cycle is so addictive because your brain releases chemicals. Adrenaline when you're in conflict, dopamine when you get that tiny scrap of love again, the cookie crumb. It keeps you trapped in hope. Maybe this time they'll change. Maybe if we go to therapy together, maybe I need to work on myself more, which you do, but not to get them to change, because they won't. And then once the person is really bonded, the apologies and affection, they become less and less. The mere comfort is enough. It's that relief that finally the name calling and yelling is over. Trauma bonds can feel more intense than healthy love because they're fueled by fear, loss, and longing. It is an emotional roller coaster, ups and downs that make any small moment of kindness feel like a huge high. It mimics the chaos of unresolved childhood wounds, the cookie crumbs you got when you did way more than everyone in the family and got a pat on the back, where a sibling was taken out for ice cream for merely putting their shoes away, for example. The bond feels familiar. It feels like home because it mirrors the inconsistency that you might have felt with caregivers who were loving sometimes and hurtful other times. Your inner child keeps chasing that old hope. If I can make this person love me, maybe I can finally heal that wound. And they don't see that connection on a conscious level here. I mean, they might on the surface, but it isn't a full understanding of the depth of the subconscious mind impact. You're not just bonded to the person, you're bonded to the trauma. It's the pattern that hooks you, the chaos, the unpredictability, the tension and release. And on a conscious level, that's not what you want. But again, it's subconscious and it's in the body. And again, in one of my videos on trauma bonding, I talked about B.F. Skinner's experiment on operant conditioning that he did with mice, where he had this box where these mice they learned to press these levers and food would come out from one of the levers and gave shocks in the other. So they avoided that lever rather quickly. He then used intermittent reinforcement by changing things up where sometimes food pellets came out and other times nothing at all. What he observed was that these mice continued pressing the lever to get pellets long after it stopped producing food. They had become obsessed with pressing the lever to a point where they no longer self-cared nor cared for their babies. Addiction had taken place. These mice, they could never tell when they would get another pellet of food, so they just continued pressing the lever, and that's what we do. The push-pull dynamic feels like home to the parts of you that learned love was something to fight for. In my adult years, my father used to tell me that he had never known anyone that worked as hard as me. That was me fighting to be seen, to be acknowledged, and at the same time believing that I had no support, because I didn't. And that's what happens when you believe something, right? So having no support gave me no choice but to do everything by myself. See Mouse wheel here. If your early life taught you that love comes with pain, your nervous system wires itself to expect pain and call it love. You're not addicted to them. You're addicted to the feeling that you get when you survive the storm and they come back with crumbs of affection. You're looking for the dopamine. In a way, the trauma bond is your mind's way of trying to master old wounds. It's a repetition of what hurt you, but with a secret hope that maybe this time it's going to turn out differently, just like Skinner's rat experiment. Trauma bonds feel like slot machines. If you always lost, you'd walk away. But if you win just sometimes, you keep pulling the lever. That's called intermittent reinforcement. It's the strongest form of conditioning known in psychology. You can't help but think, well, maybe the next time they'll really love me. Maybe the next apology is going to stick. That tiny hit of kindness makes all the pain feel worthwhile. It's not your weakness, it's human psychology. And it's what you're doing when you're writing these long emails, deleting over and over again certain words, and I forgot to say this, and it takes you forever to write the perfect letter because this time you're going to get them to understand. How many can relate here? The push-pull, how they keep you hooked. People who create trauma bonds know consciously or not how to pull you back in. They'll withdraw affection, they'll punish you with silence. Then when you're on the edge of breaking, they throw you a breadcrumb of attention. It's that unpredictable reward that keeps you hooked, just like a gambler waiting for the next win. You feel powerless to break free because your body is addicted to the cycle. Body and mind. I mean, no one stays stuck in a trauma bond because they love the pain. You stay because some part of you believes that it's the best that you can get or all that you deserve. Again, on a subconscious level. Go grab one of my hypnosis videos and listen to it twice daily for 3 weeks, and you'll start to believe otherwise after. I'll put the links in the description down below. I want you to imagine your nervous system is like an alarm system in a house. When you grow up in chaos, emotional neglect, unpredictable love or abuse, that alarm system learns to stay on high alert. Is it okay to talk to them now? The rush that you feel during the conflict, that's adrenaline, your body's primal stress response kicking in. In a narcissistic relationship, these cycles of conflict and intermittent love or apology flood your nervous system with stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, creating a powerful biochemical roller coaster. And over time, your brain starts to associate the intense highs and lows with a sense of attachment, even love, because the calm that follows the chaos feels like final relief. This is the trap of trauma bonding. The same fight or flight chemicals that make you feel anxious and on edge also hook you into the craving of the reconciliation that comes after. It's not passion, it's a chemical addiction to the cycle of abuse. The sweet relief that you feel when they apologize or act kind again, that's dopamine. Trauma bonds aren't just in your head, they are wired into your entire nervous system. When you're caught in an abusive cycle with a narcissist, your body goes through repeated surges of stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol during the conflict, followed by dopamine when there's a moment of peace or reconciliation. And over time, this pattern hijacks your brain's reward system. Your body becomes conditioned to expect these chemical spikes, much like an addiction to a drug. Scientifically, it works like this. Your amygdala, the brain's fear center, keeps you hypervigilant, always scanning for danger. Your hypothalamus triggers your adrenal glands to pump out stress hormones. And then when you get a breadcrumb of affection or apology, your brain releases dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter. And this trains your brain to crave the high after the low. So you're not just mentally hooked on the relationship, you're body is literally addicted to the biochemical cycle of stress and relief. That's why breaking free can feel so hard. I'm stuck here, sorry. You're not weak or foolish. You're fighting your own nervous system's programming. Healing means giving your brain and body enough calm, safety, and time to rewire these pathways so you're no longer chasing that toxic adrenaline rush disguised as love. It's not just emotional, it's chemical. Your body literally gets used to those highs and lows. Your body naturally goes to figure out a way to go get them. So when you leave the bond and you're met with silence, peace, and stability, your body panics. It doesn't know what to do without the adrenaline. It feels like something is missing because the chaos is gone. And sometimes the pain feels safer than the unknown. Healthy love might feel boring, even uncomfortable, if you're used to chaos. A calm partner can feel suspicious, like you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. Your inner child says, I know how to survive the pain. I don't know how to trust real safety. Or a kind, loving, stable relationship is going to feel flat. No adrenaline that your body is used to. So you cling to what you know. You bond with the trauma because it feels familiar. And the familiar feels safe because it's the only safety you've ever known. Even when it hurts. Imagine someone, maybe this sounds like you, they've left the relationship 3 times and each time the silence was unbearable. The loneliness echoed louder than the memories of the hurt. So when the text came, I miss you, I'm sorry, I'll do better, they felt a rush of relief, a hit of hope. The story now rewrites itself. Maybe they do love me. Maybe I overreacted. Maybe this is what love is. And back they go. Not because they're weak, but because the bond with the trauma is stronger than the fear of staying stuck. To break a trauma bond, you have to do something incredibly brave. You have to grieve the illusion, the hopes that your love is going to heal them, the hope that the pain will transform into safety somehow, the thought that if you just work harder, stay longer, prove yourself enough, you'll finally be loved in the way that you deserve. Grieving this illusion that it can be anything than what it was feels like death, because it means letting go of the dream that the past can be rewritten. You're dealing with a narcissist here. They don't change. They don't want to. That is the cold, hard truth. But grieving does need to take place. Grieving, though painful, is one of the most healing things that we can do for ourselves. We're giving ourselves compassion. When you allow yourself to grieve, you're giving your mind and body permission to fully acknowledge what was lost, whether that's a relationship, an illusion, or even the version of yourself that tolerated mistreatment. Grief lets all the buried emotions of sadness, anger, regret, even relief rise to the surface so that they don't fester inside of you as anxiety, bitterness, or numbness. On a deeper level, grieving helps integrate your experience into your story instead of keeping you stuck in the past. It allows your nervous system to discharge stored tension and your brain to make sense of what happened. And in this way, grief is like an emotional detox, a painful release that creates space for new hope, clearer boundaries, and healthier connections. It's how you honor what you went through while feeling yourself to grow behind it. If you've stayed in a trauma bond, you probably blame yourself for a lot of things. You ask, why did I put up with it? Why wasn't I stronger? You stayed because at some level it was safer to cling to familiar pain than risk the pain of being alone. There's no shame in that. It's survival. And you did what you had to do to feel loved, even if that love came with poison. First for those still in the relationship, then for those who have walked. Breaking a trauma bond while you're still in the relationship is one of the hardest things that you can do, but it's possible to start loosening its grip even before you physically leave. The first step is awareness, which is what you're doing, watching YouTube videos and looking into this. You need to really see the cycle for what it is, a pattern of emotional highs and lows that hook your nervous system like an addiction. Start observing the relationship like you're standing outside of it. Name the manipulation tactics. Notice the pull-push dynamics. And remind yourself that the good times are part of the trap. Name it. Next, focus on creating emotional distance, even if you can't yet create physical distance. This means setting tiny, realistic boundaries inside of yourself. Don't share your deepest feelings with the narcissistic person. Don't go to them for comfort or validation. Break the patterns of always being with them. Go for walks. Get out of the house. And don't try to win by trying to please them. Instead, redirect your energy towards reconnecting with yourself. Build small pockets of safety. Journaling, talking to trusted friends, therapy or support groups. Just seeing other people can make a world of difference for you. Anything that reminds you of who you really are outside of that trauma bond. Most importantly, practice self-compassion. You're breaking an addiction to a chemical cycle wired into your body and mind, and this takes time, and slips are normal. So each moment that you see the cycle clearly and choose not to feed it, you weaken the bond just a little. And eventually, as your nervous system learns calm and clarity, you'll feel stronger and more grounded. And when you're ready, you'll have a clearer path to decide whether to stay or leave for good. And lastly, listen to my self-hypnosis that I've left in the description below. Now, for those of you who have left, breaking a trauma bond isn't a single moment of courage. It's 1,000 tiny choices over and over again. It takes repetition. You're training. You're in training. So first, you see it clearly. This is a pattern. This is not love. Then you learn to sit with the emptiness that comes when the chaos is gone. You breathe through the withdrawal. You soothe the panic in your body that tells you to run back. You remind yourself this feeling is not forever. And slowly, you build new connections, safer ones, calmer ones, with yourself, with trustworthy people, with your own soul. So take these scary moments to journal and work on self. And remember, real love is not going to keep you anxious and waiting. Real love won't punish you, discard you, and then pull you back in. Healthy connection is steady. It doesn't spike your adrenaline. It actually regulates your nervous system. It says, you don't have to fight for me to choose you. Imagine that. And when you anchor into that, even just in friendships or community, you start to rewire your idea of love. So if you're listening right now and you feel that bond tugging at you, the late night urge to check your phone, the ache in your chest when you miss them, the fantasy that maybe this time it'll work, pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, am I bonded to them or am I bonded to the chaos? What would it feel like to love myself more? You don't have to break free overnight. You don't have to hate them. You just have to see the truth. That's why they say the truth will set you free. This is not love. This is survival. And you deserve more than just surviving. You deserve to feel safe. So tonight, ask yourself, what does my inner child still believe about love? Who taught me that pain and love come as a pair? Because they're not supposed to. What would real safety feel like in my body? And imagine it. Feel it in your body. And sit with these questions. No judgment. No rush. Just compassion for the parts of you that learn to bond with the pain. And what you're doing there is you are acknowledging the self, the very thing that broke you as a child. You are not unworthy because you stayed. You are human. You are worthy. You are learning to choose you. You were never meant to survive on breadcrumbs. You are here to feast on the fullness of real love, starting with the love that you give yourself today, tomorrow, and always. So that is all for today. I leave you with this, and We shall see you in the next video. Bye for now.